Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Trina Do Heart here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 7 of season 2 of What If Uraraka Was an Electromaster? I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So we begin.
I heard that you made a decision on the matter we discussed earlier.
The frog-faced doctor said upon entering the room of his patient, the one that was about to be discharged.
Indeed, I have.
The girl responded and then continued.
You can build a device for him, but let him know that it was only out of pity. Every time he speaks or moves, it will be thanks to us. And just like we can give him those skills back, we can also take them away whenever we choose.
Jen concluded and got up from the bed. She was ready to leave. Being the oldest of the remaining sisters had made her the one responsible for facing this decision, and she did after thinking it over for about an hour.
I'll begin constructing the device. Would you like to be contacted once it is completed?
That won't be needed. I'll be very busy this week, so I won't have time to waste on someone like him. Let Last Order deal with the situation moving forward. She's the one who cares about him, so she should be the one taking over.
Gensani stated coldly. She wanted no more business with the Tomura situation.
Very well then.
Gensani exited the room after, and she was embraced by her big sister, who had skipped class to come pick her up. It was a warm moment, just like many times before. With the paperwork processed, Gensani Uraraka was discharged from the hospital. She was returning home after all this time. The walk back was relatively quiet, which concerned the little sister. Did something terrible happen? She quickly asked Ochako if everything was all right, and she received a pat on the head followed by the usual,
"Don't worry yourself, everything's okay, Jen,"
which made her feel a bit better and also a bit embarrassed. Upon reaching the school gates, the tears began to flow down the girl's face, and she covered her mouth with both hands. Up front, all her friends were waiting for her with a big sign that read, "Welcome back, Gensani." 10,032 propelled herself forward, and they all caught her. She was happy to be back and even more to be with her friends once more. As the initial group hug dispersed, Momo came in closer and grabbed her friend gently, placing her face on her upper chest, starting to tear up right after. "Welcome back," the class president said in the warmest of ways, holding tight in the hopes that something like this would never happen.
"I'm home, everyone!"
The tears consumed her vision after telling them that she was indeed back with the friends she loved. The school day seemed not to matter as everyone there wasn't concerned about going back to the respective classroom. Momo, Izuku, Jiro, Kirishima, Todoroki, Kendo, and Ochako were hanging out alongside little Gensani until they arrived at the dorm.
"Wait, dog!"
10,032 soon remembered her pet, the one she hadn't seen since the morning of the sports festival. Sprinting over to her room, she opened the door and what she saw left her speechless.
Welcome back, kiddo.
Aizawa was sitting on her bed, and Dog was asleep on his lap.
"Sensei!"
The innocent girl walked over and hugged him.
Quite the surprise, eh?
"Huge one! What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be giving class right now?"
The curious girl asked as she sat beside him.
A friend covered for me. But what about you? Are you feeling better today?
"Yep, I'm back to 100%.
A tiny electric spark escaped her upon saying that.
That's great.
He replied with a smile, handing the kitten over to her. Jen picked Dog up, and the little one purred and pressed its head against his owner. The cat was happy to have her back too.
Are you ready for tomorrow?
Eraserhead then asked.
"I think so. I haven't told anyone, and the more I think about it, the more nervous I get. Is it truly okay for me to do this, Sensei?"
The now timid girl pondered. He caressed her hair a bit and then got up.
Principal Nezu approved it, so it is official. Look, I know that it can be scary to face something new, but doing so is what allows us to better ourselves. If we were to keep running away from everything, we wouldn't advance in life. So with that in mind, I'll take my leave. Don't forget to check inside your closet.
And in what seemed like a flash, he had left.
"He's right. Just like I did against Bakugo, I must face this. Even if it's quite terrifying, even if it makes me want to run the other way, I need to do this!"
That thought pattern had given her the strength to get up and head to her closet. Reaching the handle, she took a deep breath, and right after, she opened it in one quick motion. Seeing the new things inside of it made her squeal out of joy. The next day, everything went back to normal, and all the students were in class. Today, though, they were choosing their hero names. One by one, they all presented their idea to the rest, and eventually, it came to be Ochako's turn.
"I've already had this one assigned to me years ago as a code name, and since it still fits me, I'll use it here as well. I'm Railgun."
She proudly stated in front of her classmates, receiving tears from quite a lot of them, which made her turn red for a bit until she went back to her seat. A few students later, it was Izuku's turn, and with confidence, he stood up and went to the board. Unexpectedly, he picked the chalk and wrote his hero name as big as he could for everyone to see. My hero name will be Imagine Breaker. With my right hand, I'll destroy all illusions that cross my path, he shot out, awaiting everyone's reaction. But there wasn't much to see or hear. Only Ochako cheered, while Bakugo seemed extra pissed off. The rest were in pure bewilderment. So, in defeat, he walked back to his seat. Curse my rotten luck. He had been inspired by his dreams, yet most didn't say a word. Minutes later, they had concluded the exercise, or so they thought.
Oh, and by the way, there's someone else that'll be joining us today. You can come in now,
their homeroom teacher announced, and the classroom door opened, leaving the students with their mouths hanging. The new student walked in slowly, looking around in amazement. This was a real classroom, and now she was going to be here frequently moving forward. Upon reaching the board, she picked up the chalk and erased the cute Imagine Breaker written there and wrote her name.
I'm your new classmate, Gensani Uraraka. From today onwards, I'll be a part of Class 1A. I'm so excited to meet you all, and I can't wait to make countless memories with everyone.
She bowed after her introduction, and she almost fell back thanks to the loud reaction everyone had. Everyone was cheering for her, excluding Bakugo, of course, and this made her sentimental. She held in tears, but her right eye began to sting, so she wiped it carefully with her hand until the feeling faded. Afterward, she gave a big smile to everyone once more. She was now one of them.
Very good, Gensani. Now tell us your hero name,
Aizawa then requested.
My hero name, you ask?
Into full acting mode she had entered for some reason, but this thrilled the seated teens.
My hero name is Radio Noise. Quite the cool one, right? I've been thinking about it for a while now. So what do y'all think?
She awaited a response as her shyness was beginning to leak through. If they took much longer, she would be too scared to answer.
It's a spark,
Denki commented.
It fits you,
Mina added.
I think so too,
Todoroki joined in.
Very creative,
Yaoyorozu said, giving her friend a few claps.
Couldn't have thought of a better one myself, Jen,
Midoriya shouted from his seat. And as more people complimented her, the redder she became and the more she tried to hide away her face.
Not gonna lie, it's quite the name, sis,
Ochako told her as she approached her at the front of the classroom.
And if it makes you happy, then I will support it with all I have, so just let me know.
Uraraka whispered so nobody else could hear. A bit embarrassed, Gensani got closer to her sister, and she leaned toward her ear.
I created my hero name hoping it would inspire others, and I wanted to be cool too,
she quietly admitted. Hearing this, Railgun grabbed her sister's hand and raised it into the air.
Let's cheer for another great hero from this class. All cheers for Radio Noise.
Radio Noise! Radio Noise! Radio Noise! The class cheered very loudly. From afar, it did sound like a ritual chant, though. For the rest of the day, Jen was bombarded with questions by the others, and she tried answering them all. Eventually, she did get overwhelmed, and Ochako made everyone step back. They would either back off or be fried to a crisp. Towards the end, Aizawa reminded them about the internships and the papers that were due tomorrow, making sure to emphasize that they were mandatory. After this, the students were allowed to leave, but Gensani stayed behind as she had to start catching up with the semester she had just started. It was a ton of work. There was no way of hiding that. Yet the girl smiled while doing so, and every time she finished something, she would proudly hand it out with a giggle. This would be a long week for her. Unlike the rest of the class who would be going to outside agencies for their internships, 10,032 would stay at UA and do hers under Eraserhead, who had opened up a temporary one just for her this time around. After completion, he would dissolve it, which was to be expected.
I think that's enough for today,
Aizawa told the girl as he closed the notebook in her grasp.
No fair, I want to catch up.
Into a slight pout she went.
You spent over 2 hours working hard, and I believe that's plenty. Go get some rest, and we'll resume tomorrow.
Okay.
It was true that she was beginning to tire out, but she had another hour in her at least. Plus, she really wanted to see if after catching up, her sensei would allow her to continue ahead, leaving the rest of the class behind. Days passed, and it became time for everyone to leave for their respective agencies. Jen gave all her friends a heartfelt goodbye and saw them leave on bullet trains. Now only her sister remained by her side while their homeroom teacher watched from a corner.
If anything happens, call me, okay? No matter the time or the place, I will get back if you need me.
Ochako told her little sister in their last embrace before getting on the train. It was almost time for her to leave.
I will. Just be careful with that man. With what Todoroki told us, he's an entirely different person from what he shows himself to be.
Jen clung to her sister, wanting her to stay. She didn't want her to work under someone so despicable.
Don't worry. If he tries anything, I'll put him in his place. He may be the number 2 hero, but that doesn't mean I'll let him do what he pleases with me.
Uraraka reassured, knowing she would blast Endeavor into the stratosphere. Soon after, Railgun departed and Gensani walked over to her sensei.
Ready to head back?
He asked.
Yeah, let's get going.
On the quiet way back, Shota decided to break the silence.
I looked over the hero costume concept you sent to the support department, and I was impressed. So practical and elaborate. It only serves to contrast that your sister still hasn't handed hers.
Thanks! I did my best to design it to fit my needs, while also strengthening my attributes. As for my big sister, she doesn't want a hero suit.
10,032 turned a bit red after saying that. It was so embarrassing to reveal.
Did she give a reason?
In her own words, if Aizawa can wear a dark potato sack, then I can wear whatever I want.
She just covered her reddened face at that point. Why had her sister been so upfront about it?
I guess that checks out,
he said in disappointment.
Forgive me. Can we please change the subject? I don't like talking about my big sister when she's not here.
I don't see why not,
he replied.
Going back to your schematics, I believe that some of the parts you require will have to be requested from America. And for one of them, we're contacting Island to see if the shields can manufacture it. Quite an expensive suit compared to the rest.
Aizawa admitted. His new student had a hero suit that would cost around many times more than what her classmates had ordered.
If it were to be needed, I would pay for it,
she quickly exclaimed upon hearing her worried teacher.
No need. UA will cover it as promised. Regardless, I don't think that you have 30 million yen lying around.
Just saying that number made the man want to scream.
And I'd be able to afford it with less than a month's worth of my allowance,
Jen thought. Ochako gave her too much allowance money every week. On their way back, they came across an ice cream stand that said, "Free ice cream for ad read," and this made Gensani turn her head to face her sensei. She gave him the look of, "I want to do it," and he could only hope that she was joking.
Is it really necessary?
Of course it is! It's free ice cream, Sensei!
All right.
10,032 first looked at her options, and upon seeing one she liked, she pointed towards it so Eraserhead could see which one to read.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn.
The girl then motioned for her accomplice to continue it, and with a long sigh, he did.
Each class they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you want to learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered, and with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial.
Now he motioned the little one to conclude it.
So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in the description below.
With the task completed, they received their prize.
Yay, cookies and cream!
Radio Noise celebrated and began chowing down on it.
I guess it wasn't so bad.
Aizawa tasted his and smiled. It wasn't such a bad experience. Sometime later, Ochako arrived at the agency. In the top office, she stood facing the flaming Goliath. He was fuming.
Thanks to your younger sister, my Shoto forfeited his already won match at the sports festival. Such a disgraceful display for the world to see. It was his chance to show my desire, yet that never came to be as he instead ought to go help save your sibling. How will you pay for your sin?
I don't know you a thing. You may be the number 2 hero and overall the number 1 in rescues, but I will never kneel even less respect a white beater such as yourself.
Railgun countered, making the man rage.
What did you just say?
You heard me.
Uraraka answered without a hint of fear.
Todoroki told me everything about you, and I can understand why he hates your guts. I can relate with him to some extent, so seeing you treat him like an extension of you pisses me off.
The hulking hero's flames burst forth and surrounded the entire office, closing them in as everything started to burn.
I'll teach you how to keep that mouth of yours shut.
With that threat, he prepared to pounce on the girl in front of his now flaming desk.
Good luck with that, white beater. Knowing you, you'll probably fail to do that as well. Just like you can't even rise to number 1 when going against the shitty merchandising piece of shit that is All Might.
A fight ensued between them, and everything nearby was left in pieces by the time they finished. It would take days to reconstruct everything that had been lost. It only took 10,032 5 days to get caught up, and just like she wanted, she asked if she could get ahead, but Aizawa denied her this request. She needed to go at the same pace as the others. Instead, he offered her some training in the binding cloth style, and she excitedly accepted. Half an hour later, she had tangled herself like a burrito, making her and Eraserhead laugh out loud. Once the internships concluded, everyone came back, and the next day, they arrived at the class as usual.
Good morning, everyone. I hope that you all learned something in the past week. But before we start class, I regret to inform you that your classmate Tenya Ida is no longer with us. During his internship, he faced the hero killer Stain and didn't survive the encounter. From what was gathered, it is suspected that Ida faced off against the villain looking to avenge his older brother.
Chota explained briefly, yet the news shook everyone in the classroom. On the back, Ochako Uraraka clenched her fist. In some way, she felt responsible. Maybe he would have been able to escape it if his leg wasn't crippled thanks to her. Or perhaps he would have died regardless. Ida had always been too stubborn for his own good after all.
Settle down. Let this be a lesson. Never forget this feeling.
With a tinge of pain, he told his students.
This, alongside the constant encouragement from someone, has led me to rethink my approach, and so I've decided upon having Class 1A take the provisional license exams during June instead of waiting until September.
The class president immediately raised her hand, and she was allowed to ask a question. Wouldn't it be advisable for us to take it once we are ready? It being so early in our school year could result in a failed attempt, not to mention that the final term exams will take place less than a month later.
Your concerns are valid, but I believe you are ready to face the challenge. And thanks for reminding me, Yayarozu. You should all start preparing for the term finals because whoever fails will not be allowed to come to the summer lodge.
The class burst into screams. Most students began to lose their minds over the announcement. Ochako looked at everyone, disappointed. It was just a rescue drill and a test. No big deal. Jen, on the other hand, was beginning to feel overwhelmed by everyone's cries, so she covered her ears in the hopes of silencing the noise. But she could still hear most of it. She lowered her head in defeat as a headache was born. Noticing this, Uraraka let out some of her quirk loose, shutting up those that saw or heard it. A smirk surfaced and Aizawa resumed his lecture. Only a week and a half remained until the provisional license exams were to take place. After class, the two sisters went to the support department to ask about Jen's suit, but it was still a week or so away from arriving, a fact that scared the younger one as it would be cutting it close to the PL exams. Mei Hatsume noticed her concern and reassured the timid girl that it would arrive on time. Of this, she was certain. The big day arrived, and all of Class 1A was ready to get past this roadblock. Many other students were present from a vast selection of schools from all over Japan, and they too seemed prepared to do the same. Ochako cracked her knuckles in anticipation as the 1-minute timer counted down. In her new hero suit, Gensani hid behind the crowd. Maybe it was too over the top. It took Momo, Izuku, and Uraraka to convince her that it was an amazing one. And even though hesitant, she smiled and ran ahead with them once the timer reached 0. It had cost 30 million yen to make, and that was for a very good reason. All the electric blue and visor green suit was specially crafted to augment Uraraka 10,032's relative weak spot output when compared to her sister. On her back, she sported a huge device, the amplifier. With it, she could increase her output by 10 times if she were to need it, and even though it was huge, it barely weighed anything. It also worked as an electric storage if required. But that wasn't all. From iIsland, she had requested a programmable matter base with personal upgrades to support her needs further. This programmable matter base, or PMB for short, was programmed to only allow users with registered DNA sequences to use it. Whoever tried using it without permission would be repelled backwards, and if they attempted any further, they would be shot by some of the stored electricity. She also sported rocket boots. These were specially requested so she could perform her ultimate attack. Chaos ensued as the students fought not to be eliminated. For Ochako, it was even harder as Bakugo tried to eliminate her, even though they were supposed to be working together. Halfway through, Gensani flew high into the air and transformed her base into a bow, and with the help of her visor, she aimed at all her foes beneath. The electricity within her surfaced, making the amplifier behind her spark up to life. The girl then formed a lightning arrow and got ready to execute her ultimate for the first time.
Strike your targets! Arrow bolts! Let your rain hit them all! Radio noises lightning shower!
With all her might, she released her attack, and her arrows soon split into 32 beams of electricity that devastated the area below. It was true that she wasn't allowed to injure other participants gravely, but this wasn't the objective she had in mind. Instead, she stunned them with a tremendous strike for her classmates to eliminate those affected.
It was a success!
She celebrated and went back down to join the others. By the time it was done, everyone was exhausted. It had been like sprinting throughout an entire marathon without breaks. All that remained for the students was to wait for the results. Thankfully, that didn't take long. 18 out of the 19 1A students had passed, which was a resounding success. Ochako decided to tease out the firecracker who had failed the exam by sticking out her tongue, resulting in the boy attacking her. Still, Uraraka easily dodged his attack and swept him to the floor. Once more, he had been defeated. Afterward, Ochako congratulated her little sister by raising her into the air. She was so proud. In so little time, she had already accomplished so much, and she couldn't wait to see what she would do next. Almost a month later, they had taken the written part of the end-of-term test, and now only the practical part remained. In it, the teachers would go against the students. There were 2 ways to win: to escape through a unique gate or to handcuff the teacher with peculiar handcuffs that were distributed. Now the big surprise arrived with the announcement of the teams. Ochako, Gensani, and Bakugo would be going against All Might. Nailgun felt annoying that she had to go against the blonde shit stain, but that was just an afterthought when compared to having Bakugo on the same team as her little sister. If he tried anything, she would murder him. Radio Noise was relatively calm, but she felt some pressure nearby from where the spiky explosions boys stood. This wasn't good. The firecracker, on the other hand, was absolutely livid. To work with those bitches who had embarrassed him had to be some sort of sick joke. Internal screaming soon followed as he was forced to go along with them.
I'm not working together with either of you, understand?
He shouted while pointing at both girls. All 3 were inside the exam area.
And don't think I forgot about our rematch, Nailgun. I'll take you out the next chance I get.
Whatever you say, Chili Pepper.
With a smug expression, Ochako replied. This poor idiot was nothing but a small fry like a chihuahua.
Hey, we're in exam. So let's try working together.
But she was pushed back by Bakugo, who then hit her amplifier with the back of his grenade gauntlet.
Who's talking to you, round face? You're just a rejected version of your twin sister!
The boy shouted, angering the hell out of Uraraka, but digging out some frustration within Gen.
Imagine having your twin being known nationwide, yet nobody has the slightest clue about your existence. Pathetic, that's what you are. A mere microbe compared to her in every way. Nothing special, so just quit before you're crushed.
Visible electricity rampaged out of Ochako, and the sizzling in the air became way louder than usual. But it suddenly stopped as a fist found itself in Tatsuki Bakugo's face. Gensani Uraraka had just punched him in the face with an electric punch that knocked him to the floor. But she didn't stop at just one. She continued hitting him at full power while he was down. Her frustration had reached a breaking point.
Shut your mouth! Who cares if I'm not known? Or if I'm capable of just a fraction of what my big sister can accomplish? My sister is my sister, and I'm me! So stop being a fucking jerk, you asshole! I'm trying my best! To get stronger, to learn, and most importantly, to be me, as I'm the only one of me that there is! I'm sick and tired of your attitude toward my sister, and even more of the attitude you display toward me! I'm tired of it, and if I have to beat it into you, I will! As many times as it takes!
She had finally stopped as she began to calm down bit by bit. The boy under her had lost consciousness within the first 10 punches or so, and now he was a bloody mess on the street.
Jen.
Uraraka let out as she reached for her.
I'm okay. Let's get this over with.
Radio Noise responded and accepted her sister's help. Both girls rushed to the exit, being intercepted by All Might Hallway.
Haha, I'm here!
He announced upon landing.
Out of our way!
Nailgun screamed and released a concentrated lightning spear that collided with the behemoth and sent him crashing against the building. Both sisters easily passed the gate after that, and this concluded their trial. Bakugo had failed once more, but at least he wouldn't be the only one, as other students also failed to finish, so he would join the end-of-term losers. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. If you're in the mood for some great storytelling, Wounded Celestials has you covered. On that night, the USJ was destroyed by a mysterious man with blue flames. All the place was bathed into the cerulean inferno. 13 could only crawl, trying to escape death. Both her legs had been burned to a crisp.
Smile for the camera, 13. You're live.
The man joked as he pointed his camera at the woman he was now burning alive with his flaming stomps. Her screams became louder as her torture continued for many minutes to come. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Now, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the Recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day. On that same night at the UA dorm, two sisters were stargazing.
I can't believe that the stars tonight are so lively. What do you think, sis?
Ochako asked, but her little sister seemed lost in thought.
You okay, Jen?
She then asked, getting closer.
Sorry. It's just that I keep thinking about what Bakugo said, and it infuriates me.
Gensani answered and rested her head against Nailgun's lap.
It's okay. Let it all out. He truly is a dick, and he deserved every single one of those punches he received.
Uraraka kept caressing her sister's hair.
I even swore.
The little one then added in disappointment.
Don't feel so bad. I first swore when I was 4. My mother slapped my mouth on the back of her hand. I even bled.
Ochako expressed an old memory, one that she'd rather forget, but that could make Gensani laugh.
That's terrible.
The younger one commented.
I know, but some parents react that way sometimes.
Both the girls continued to watch the stars together in silence, but 10,032 decided to break it.
Hey, sis. Can I make a request? Sure, what is it? I know it might be hard, or perhaps downright impossible to replicate some things. Would you be willing to teach me more about her quirk?
Jen asked, holding her sister's hand tightly. Ochako smiled and patted her sister gently.
If that's what you want, I can't say no. I'll teach you everything I know.
Gensani jumped out of happiness and hugged her big sister. She was so happy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you!
She repeated cheerfully. From that day onwards, she would train under Nailgun, learning how to use her quirk in new ways that she had never before thought about. She knew that if she got stronger, nobody would ever be able to catch her again, and never again would she worry her friends. If she managed to learn at least something, then she would be ever closer to her goal.